scene. There we go. There we go. Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Turner Fan 77, and I'm back with Comic Talk Volume 2, Issue 1, and I have a very special guest tonight, and that special guest is BINBUSTER. How you doing, man?
I'm
Thanks for
doing
being here.
I'm doing well, Rich. Thanks for having me on tonight.
No, it's an
Kick it.
honor to have you.
I mean, when you started this, I was like, oh, I always want to be on this, but it's like I'm like, oh, just never found the time. And then when the Absolute series came out, I'm like, this is awesome. And then it's
hmm
like all of a sudden you reached out to me. I'm like, yes, I'll do the Absolutes.
I'm glad you wanted to join.
Yeah, yeah,
I love comics.
yeah.
You like comics.
Uh huh.
What's your passion on a scale of 1 to 10?
Oh, for
What's your love for?
comics,
Yeah.
um, like when I was younger, it was like an 11. Well, because you're talking when convenience stores used to have them on the racks, and I
Yeah.
could walk from my house there. And then even when Little Caesars had pizza by the slice, I would grab a slice of pizza from Little Caesars, run over to the convenience store, and just read a comic book. I even had a comic shop from where I grew up that was within walking distance too, and so it was like I was immersed in that way. And so as I grew up and went off to college, a lot less areas for comic books were around because I didn't have anything within walking distance of a local comic shop. So it would have to be a drive, and I didn't have a car. So it's like
Where'd you go to college?
University of Valley Forge up in Pennsylvania.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so there's not anything within walking distance. So it's like Philly's the nearest one. So it's like, and Philly's like 20 minutes away by car. So
Well,
it's like,
yeah. So yeah, no, I get that.
yeah,
And when you're in college,
and
is money.
yeah, and recently I've been more into the completed series sets like omnibuses,
Yeah,
absolutes, um, the collected stories. I
the
usually
hardcovers.
yes, the hardcovers, even the some of the soft covers ones.
hmm
I missed a lot of that stuff, like issues going on because not having one near me, or even
Yeah.
my with my schedule now. And it's one of those things. It's like, okay, I'll just wait till it all comes out as one set and then read it then.
See, I
So
used to do that too. I was all about the hardcovers, the trade
yeah, yeah,
paperbacks, the collected editions. They look beautiful on your shelf,
yeah.
but then you run out of space because we're both movie collectors, and
hmm
space is very, very important. So what I did is I sold most of my hardcovers, trade paperbacks, and I went digital with comics. I know that sounds crazy, being a physical media collector,
No, no, it
but I
really
put them all on
doesn't.
my iPad.
Yeah, yeah. What app do you use?
I use Marvel Unlimited,
Okay,
and DC Unlimited, and
okay.
Comixology
Yeah,
Amazon.
yeah. I was gonna say I knew about these two separate ones, but Comixology, I kind of like
Yeah.
I have the entire first run of Mad Cave Studios, Dick Tracy, so 1 through 5
hmm
on digital because they I bought issue 1 and then they came out with hey, issue 1, like you could get the entire series on digital if you buy issue 1 after I already pre-ordered issue 1. So it's like, okay, let me rebuy issue 1 so I could get the entire run on
Right.
digital. And it's like, honestly, going digital with comics, I've never found it weird because
It took,
it's kind of like watching a film strip or of a cartoon, in
that
my
is
opinion.
true.
So it's like,
You're right. You're right.
and sometimes when
Wow.
you're reading that paper, it's like when you're reading the comic book, there's details in there, and you're trying to hold it up like this. Whereas with the digital, you could just zoom in on the picture, and be like,
Yes.
"Oh, okay, that's what's going on." Like,
Yes. 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 See, I found that odd at first because I'd accidentally do it with my fingers,
yeah,
and as
yeah,
I'm reading, I was like, "Wait a minute. Okay, I gotta do it this way." And then as you find art that's just amazing, you
yes,
can zoom in and just see the detail and
yes.
stuff.
And if you like a picture of it as you're reading it, you can take the screenshot of it and be like, "That's gonna be a new wallpaper now for the phone."
What
Yeah,
I do.
yeah. Well,
That's what I do.
and before people say, "Oh, that's illegal," no, it's not
Mm-mm,
illegal. We're not selling it. We're not
mm-mm.
creating we're not creating new content for it. We were
Yeah.
just using it for a wallpaper on our computers or phones. So,
Yeah. Yep. Yep. So before we get into this DC Comics absolute
mm-hmm,
Batman number one, Wonder Woman number one, and Superman number one,
mm-hmm.
today we got a teaser trailer or I don't know what you want to call it because tomorrow's the
A,
teaser.
a it was like what was it like
Yeah.
20 seconds of footage.
Yeah. From the teaser trailer tomorrow.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
the
And that
teaser
is
of the teaser
Superman.
trailer. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's so funny. Um,
Oh,
so what did you think of Superman, of the teaser
okay.
of Superman?
I gotta say, I love the fact that they go with the Daily Planet with the globe again. I
Yes.
kind of like that. It's iconic. It's like the big W on top of Wayne,
Yeah.
and a big gigantic L on the side of the building for like Lex Core or Luthor Core. You replace those, it doesn't feel the same.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's more
Totally agree.
modern, even if it's more modern, old school. What is it? Old school buildings and businesses like the Daily Planet would keep something that would be recognizable to
It's
people.
iconic.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's
Very iconic.
iconic. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so I kind of love the fact that we open up the trailer with the crew, with the Daily Planet
Mhm.
crew, right there,
I do too. I like that.
and I'm like going, okay, because we all know Superman's being dropped into a world where superheroes already exist. We already know that.
And I like
But,
that. I do like that.
yeah,
I don't want origin stories.
no,
Just
and,
give us a story.
and it's like what James Gunn said. He goes, Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man are the three origin stories you don't need because it's always the same. He
Hmm.
goes, look at when they did Flashpoint. Bruce got killed. It still spawned off Batman.
Yep.
So no matter what, no matter how you change it, he goes, look at Red Sun. So all they did is change the location where Clark landed,
Yep.
and it's boom. It's still the same story. It's just here you go. So it's like those are the three things that no matter how many times you see it on screen, you're like, yeah, I already know this story. You're wasting like 10 minutes of this movie for me.
Yeah. Sometimes you 20,
Yeah, yeah.
30. Just
I don't
give us.
mind it. I don't mind it in flashbacks.
Yes. That's what I hope they do. It's
Yeah,
like give us little nuggets here and there.
yeah.
Um,
Um, I liked it, but I also am like, what are these people looking at in here? Well, like what's going on the ground or up in the air that
because it looked like
there?
they were in a building. They were in a building looking
Yeah,
up.
they were looking at something,
Hmm.
and then all the people on the ground were like looking. Is it
They had their phones out. They're
yeah?
like,
Is it Superman's first view there happening, or is there something going on that brings Superman in?
I think something's going on. That's what I
Well,
think.
that's what I think too, because
Hmm.
like I said earlier, we're getting a world where Superman's already exists. The Lois and Clark relationship are already there. Clark's already part of the Daily Planet, so it's not like
Hmm.
so he's a season reporter. So Superman's been around in Metropolis, so it's not like we're getting like it's like the Gene Hackman one where Superman first shows up. It's like this way. We're already getting a Lex Luthor that has known Superman's there and is trying to save Metropolis from
Yep.
Superman. And then the whole time it's like, okay, so we actually have a Lex that's grounded in this world already, and he's not just some he's not just some billionaire. He's like, okay, I have to stop this guy. This guy
Yeah.
is
He feels like he's
a
right.
god. Yeah, yeah, and in some ways, Lex is right.
Hmm. Yeah.
Lex is those of us who feel that same way whenever someone like Superman shows up.
Yeah. You're
Because
scared. You don't
yeah,
know.
you're scared you don't know, and what I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure this place I call home is protected. So
Yeah.
in some ways, Lex is right, but yeah. So what
Yeah.
did you think of it?
I loved it. I was pumped this morning when I opened my phone and I saw. I was like, "Did they drop it early?" And then I was like, "Oh, wait a minute."
The poster was even awesome.
Oh, I know. I have that as my
Yeah,
screensaver on my phone. I don't know if you
yeah,
can see it.
yeah.
Yeah, I
I
do.
love it. I love it, and it's like, and even the John Williams score back on it with it. I'm like,
Yeah,
ooh.
and I love the scene where you just see the cape flapping
Yes,
and
yeah.
him.
Oh,
Ah,
and I love that you see it when he's flying with the cape flapping. That the hair's moving. It's not
yes.
just
Yeah,
solid. It's not solid right there. It's actually moving. I'm like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
kind of like that. Like it would move as you're flying
It would.
into
Yeah.
everything.
I,
But
I, I, I trust James Gunn. Everything I've seen
do
him.
you Do you
Go
think the
ahead.
people talking about how this looks like a CW show is justified by what we just saw? Because
No.
they're saying the coloring is off. I'm like, yes, but this is also preview footage of the trailer. You don't know if
Yeah.
the trailer's graded yet. Like some trailers don't even get color graded until the movie's out. Like,
Yeah, and they're still working on
yeah,
post production,
yeah.
so I'm that doesn't concern me.
No, it
And
doesn't concern me either.
I wouldn't care if it's a black and white as long as the story is good. That's all
Yes,
I want. It's a good
yes.
story.
Hmm.
To me, that's the only thing that matters.
And Superman's one of those things that you have to get right.
Yeah, this is very important.
Yeah.
If they botch this movie, where do they go?
No, 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 not necessarily. I don't mean that way. It's one of those things. We've had Man of Steel. It
Mm,
kind of divided the
I did.
Superman fan base. So you have those people who are like Superman would never do that, and they're fans of who jumped into comics in the '90s when they started giving Superman an edge.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this is my super. This is the Superman I like. So it's like you
Hmm.
can't please everybody, but it seems like you have someone who respects the source material
Yeah.
and does anything to try and do his best to make that come up on the screen.
Yeah. And I love the look that they gave the guy that plays Superman. I
Yeah,
love the look. I think Lois Lane looks phenomenal in just that little
yeah, 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 yeah.
piece.
We see Steve Lombardi, we see Jimmy Olsen,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
see Cat Grant. So it's like
I see. I didn't notice her. I
she's
just,
the blonde right there
I,
in front
I
by
just, I was
Lois.
just
Yeah,
focusing in
yeah.
on
On
Lois when
Lois.
I was like,
Well, and it's like that too. It's like you have Lois as a season reporter. Okay, hey, I get that. I'm going here. I'm like going. Everyone else is behind her, so it's like she's the main one on here. I'm
yeah,
like, okay,
and that was on
it-
purpose. I like
yeah,
how it was.
yeah,
Yeah, it was
yeah.
almost
It's
like a
like
triangle kind of thing.
it is. It's like here's Lois. Okay, you're your main reporter. Here's Jimmy, almost right next to her because he's the main photographer. So it's like you have your two main writers and photographer right there, and they're just going shh, and you just see everything. Yeah.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Next year we
Uh-huh.
have Superman and Fantastic Four. Which movie do you think is more important for their studio? Is DC or is Superman more important for DC, or is Fantastic Four more important for
Little of both. I would say it's
little
both
both?
important. I said it's important for both. Why? You're rebooting an entire
Hmm.
you're rebooting the entire studio now with Superman. This fails.
Yeah,
Where do you go from here? Do you just continue plugging in and it's hoping something hits? Because obviously, Creature Commandos is a hit. People love Creature
yeah.
Commandos.
That's great. I loved it.
I've watched it. I love how he's world building
Yeah,
even before we get the first official movie
yeah.
in it. So,
And there's
and,
little references in them that I like.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like the whole Pikes scene that they have in there.
Mm,
I'm like, we're going there. Okay,
yeah,
they're not going to spoil
yeah.
it for anyone who has seen it. But if
And
you're
if
a
you
comic
haven't
fan,
seen
if
Creature
you're a comic
Commandos,
fan, you
go
know.
watch it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
watch it. But Fantastic Four, honestly, Superman is important, but I think Fantastic Four is a more of a weighted opportunity for Marvel. For the past few
Hmm.
years, they've been nothing but crap.
Yeah, I
It's
100%
been
agree with you.
quantity, quantity, quantity. Fantastic Four is their chance to do a soft reboot
Yeah,
with the whole Kang thing too. Like now with
yeah.
the
I
whole
wouldn't.
Jonathan Majors thing, you have to do a soft reboot. This is it. So this is important for the MCU in that aspect, more so than it is for Superman. Because if Superman fails, you're like, okay, what do we have next? Supergirl and then Batman. Okay, we can do this.
See, I don't think. I think for me, Superman is way more important for um, DC than Fantastic Four is Marvel because you have look at the last three DC movies. Audience gave up on them. They barely made money at whatsoever. I mean, was it Blue Beetle, Flash, and was it Black Adam? Was the last three? No, Aquaman.
Aquaman, yes.
Yeah, those last three, they barely made any
But,
money.
but, but see, but see, that's the thing. Blue Beetle, yeah, because they knew that there was a new studio and a new DCU coming out, and that
Yeah.
was a failure on DC's part for that aspect.
Hmm.
No one cared about these movies because
No.
of that, because of that news that came out.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, excuse me. Sorry, I didn't mean to belch on camera. Oh, I gotta do it again. No,
It's
excuse
okay.
me. Sorry, guys.
It's okay. I'll pick my nose on camera just to make it better. There we go.
But for me, Superman doesn't have to make a lot of
No,
money,
no.
but it has to tell a good story to get
Mhm,
people to come back.
mhm.
We
Yes.
got some people in here. Let's see. We got Tiana. Hey, Ben and Rich. Thank you for being here,
Yeah.
Tiana.
How we doing?
We got Movie Hunter. How you doing? Then we got Don of the Dead. That's
Hey,
Jerry,
Jerry.
right?
It's Jerry. Hey, how you
Yeah.
doing,
How
man?
you doing? Thanks for being here, man. And we got. I'm
Hunter,
saying,
Taco,
huh?
Jerry, and
Yeah.
I like Hunter's last comment here too. DC is
DC.
building their foundation all over again, and we all know the house is only as strong as its foundation. Yes, but
Yes.
Marvel's also rebuilding their foundation too. It's not as deep as DC's is, but look at it. You have the first family of Marvel. Like
Yeah.
honestly, you're bringing in the A-listers now. You have Spider-Man, who's an A-lister.
But dude,
X-Men
they
are
don't really.
Spider-Man's an A-lister. Fantastic Four is your A-lister, and X-Men are your A-lister. So you're bringing your A-list of, I'm talking comic-wise,
Hmm.
of that. Your three big foundational pieces. Look at the '90s cartoon-wise. Those are the big three
Yeah.
cartoon-wise for them.
You're
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
You're absolutely right.
So
Yeah, I never thought
so
of it that way.
so and see, Superman is one character that you have to get right. Fantastic Four is an entire family, and you need to have that chemistry in there.
That's
And
true.
and the last two, like I was a fan of the first series with Jessica Alba and Ian Griffith. I like those ones. I think those ones were well besides the Galactus Far Cloud. So,
All
but
right.
but the other one was horrible. So you have a stench in people's mouths for three movies with Fantastic Four. Whereas with Superman, you have a stench in people's mouths with Man of Steel, which split a fan base.
And you got BBS in
Yes,
there.
yes,
Justice League.
yes.
Um, okay, my next question before we get into this, um, which one do you think is going to make more money? Superman or Fantastic Four? Just dollar wise.
Superman.
You think Superman? Oh
It's
man.
more it's a more of a longevity of a character because you're going to get generations of people coming into it. If the people who are in the movie, all these actors are saying, and even Will Reeves, who's in this movie,
Yeah.
is saying it reminds him so much of the stuff his dad's done, or it's so much it reminds him of Christopher Reeve. You're going to get fans of those movies coming back to Superman to do all that.
I think you're right. I honestly think it's going to be Superman.
Yeah,
Because what
it,
you said earlier, you
it's a known
have
property.
three Fantastic Four films
Hmm.
that are burning the fans.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
technically four if you count the Roger. Is it Roger Gorman?
yeah, yeah,
Uh, technically four movies that are like shame on us for going back four times.
yeah.
And we got Corey up in here. How
What's
you
up,
doing,
man?
Corey? Thanks for joining. Glad you could make it. Okay, which book do you want to start off with? I'll let you pick which one you want to
Well,
start
let's
with.
start in reverse alphabetical order.
Okay,
So Wonder Woman first.
Wonder Woman first. I've got my notes here.
Yeah, yeah. Mine are up here on the screen too. So
Okay,
if it looks
I
like
am
I'm
going to
reading, if
read this.
yeah.
Well, let's tell everybody what the absolute
Oh,
universe is.
the Absolute Universe. If you guys are not familiar, it's a new universe started this year by Scott Snyder. If I had to compare it to anything, I would say it's comparable to the Marvel Ultimate Universe. Just so you know, as compared to where main continuity is,
Yep.
as compared to this universe. I would put it up there with the Ultimate Universe of Marvel for all those people who know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What this is it's spearheaded by Scott Snyder, who, if you guys don't know who Scott Snyder is, he's one of the big head guys of DC Comics. He's like, I think he's like what, two spots under Jim Lee, who's editor in chief.
No, he's not technically at DC. I mean, he's not.
Yeah, he's not technically at DC. He's just writing for him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's freelancing now
yeah,
because he has his own stuff.
yes, yeah, he does. So it's like, but he's responsible for a lot of things in the
I've
late
heard him.
'90s, early 2000s.
No, he busted on the scene about 2000. right around DC New 52 because
Yeah,
he
yeah,
took
no,
over
that's what I'm
Batman.
saying. That's what I'm saying. He took over Batman and okay, early 20, what was it, middle 2010s?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
2010s. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
something like
So,
that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
He was
so he was right there, and it's like his stuff there is like, okay,
iconic.
he knows it is. He
Hmm.
brings us the Court of Owls.
Yeah.
Well, like this guy knows these characters, and him doing this universe is like, okay, how? What's a different way we could tell these stories of these Justice League characters? Oh, I know. Let's flip them upside down on their head, and that's pretty much what this universe is.
It is because Dark Side, um, Dark Side. I'm going to read you what the
Yes.
caption is. The absolute universe is born from the villainous dark side, which means no one has it easy. It's a world where every hero is robbed of the things that make them who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Mm-hmm.
basically, it is so true. It's
Yeah,
so true in
yeah,
this.
yeah. It is so true.
And I'm going to, because I haven't figured this, hold on here. I'm going to pull up an image of, I don't know if you, oh, son of a, where'd that
Oh,
go? Gotta love technology.
yes, 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 yes.
Wonder Woman, absolute number one. I
Yeah,
love this cover.
yeah,
It's great.
mm-hmm.
Now I'm gonna read the solicitations.
Yeah.
What the for the number one for Wonder Woman is. It says Eisner winner Kelly Thompson and breakout artist Hayden Sherman reinvent Wonder Woman from the ground up. Without the island of paradise, without the sisterhood that shaped her,
Mhm.
without a mission of peace, what's left for the absolute Amazon? And wow, this was different. This was so different,
Oh,
but so good.
yeah, yeah.
This was good. This was really good. So I'll let you go first since you're the
Okay.
guest. You tell me what you liked about this book.
Oh, I loved how like we read there. The initial thing is like, okay, when this whole thing was announced, they really told you about Batman's origin. They didn't really tell you what Wonder Woman's or Superman's were. They just showed you the covers,
Yeah,
and they just honed it. Here's Batman's origin for Absolute. It's like okay, and then it's like okay, and it's like this: Diana being the Princess of Hell, and whose mother is Cersei, completely changes the dynamic of the character, and I like it.
yeah. She's hard.
Oh, oh
Yeah,
you always thought she was a hard nosed badass before. This is
but she had
ridiculous.
compassion. She had
Yeah,
compassion though.
yeah. She had compassion. Now she doesn't. It's like it's pretty much it's like I literally wrote this. Diana's the princess of hell. She's the last Amazonian, and technically a sin against the gods. The two play with Greek mythology and lore of Wonder Woman, the writer and artist, in a unique manner. It has their way of maintaining the goodness and gentle mind of Diana Prince in this hardened universe where Darkseid prevails to simply have Diana maintain her original coming of age story with a more extreme background. And I just
Yeah,
love how Zeus is like, here's Cersei, here's a daughter for you. And Cersei, who's one of her biggest arch enemies, is now her mother.
yeah. And it's so funny because she's like, I don't want this kid. It's gonna let somebody
Yeah,
something. She's gonna die anyway.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
let it happen.
yeah,
It's just like,
yeah,
and then you see all these like different creatures trying to, and she's like, oh, okay, this is not gonna work. But then you get this kind, you see the
yeah.
turn in Cersei where
Uh,
she's like, okay, I love this child,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know. And I love the long panels, uh, seeing her just grow up,
yeah.
reading that book. And,
This is more of a coming of age story with
hmm.
Wonder Woman than it was. It's like it would be then more so than Batman and Superman were
Yeah,
because you already have them as adults. Here you're seeing her grow up. You're seeing
yeah,
what made her the training montages that we know of. The compassion from Themyscira. You've seen that side. Now it's like
yeah,
okay, we're showing you that again. Here you go, but in this way.
yeah, yeah. And almost the creatures that she's fighting, that stuff didn't matter. It was more of the personal
Yeah.
interactions with Cersei
Oh yeah.
and then I did like the art when she was like, "Take me to you. Are you the leader?" And the look on the guy's face, she was like, "No, take me." I like that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like that a lot. Um,
Oh,
so
uh,
I want to. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just like the look. I mean, honestly,
Hmm.
you have her.
The tattoo.
They went very like Norse mythology with her on
Yeah.
this, more so than they went like Greek or Roman mythology.
Hmm.
They went more Norse with her look, and I love it. Like the fur, like the Viking
Hmm.
furs, the tattoos. You said, and I love her weapon of choice,
Yeah.
the bastard sword.
Yeah. I
I'm
did.
like a two-handed weapon for Wonder Woman. I'm like that makes sense. She is a warrior after all. So why give her a freaking lasso?
Yeah. But I like how they introduced
Yeah,
the last one. That was pretty cool.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Well,
And
but
it was. No, go ahead.
the redesign was fantastic too. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Hayden Sherman. Fantastic. I wasn't familiar with this
yeah,
individual's
neither was I.
and top notch. And I will say I've read the next issue, issue
Mhm.
two, same level of art.
Well, okay, yeah, okay. I I love the side characters that they have throughout her actual story in here too, like Trevor, Steve Trevor,
Yeah,
and a few others. I'm like, I love that he's redefining these characters because you could tell he's taking his time and says, "I want to map this out."
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
because I want to map this out, and here's where we're going with these characters. Like, how do we? Here's what would fundamentally turn these characters on their head in a way that no one's seen before. We just got done with Dark Knight with Metal with the Dark Knight saga. He
yeah.
goes,
Which wasn't very good.
which wasn't very good, which started off strong.
It did start off strong.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, you did that, and then Absolute Power, which was just completely horrible.
yeah. That was a
um,
waste, which led into this.
yeah, yeah, which led into this, which I'm thinking, oh, great, this. So they went through all that just to bring us this Absolute. I'm like, but it
Hmm.
to me, this doesn't seem like this is another Earth.
No,
Oh, like you know how when they had Dark Knight's Metal felt like it was another. We knew it was another dark multiverse. This doesn't seem like this is another Earth. This seems like this is Earth Prime,
yeah.
and this is just redesigned characters.
Now I have a question for you. Did
Yes.
you read all or DC All In?
No, which one?
It's this was called. It's called. It's
Oh,
a one
it's
shot.
just
There's
no. Oh, it's a one
yeah.
shot. Because
Yes.
I know all of them now have the little all
Yeah,
in
yeah,
on
yeah.
there. No, I have not.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you what happens
Okay.
here. They're on the Watchtower, the Justice League, because they
Yeah.
reformed the Justice League. On the Watchtower, Darkseid shows up, wants to take them all out. He disappears, and then like the Absolute Universe is created from that event.
Yeah.
Okay, and Earth Prime knows this universe exists,
Hmm.
so they sent. I want to say it's Booster Gold to inspect. Say, okay, we're going to send you over here, and then he gets cut off, and then he sees Darkseid, and that's you haven't seen or heard of anything in this absolute universe. So I'm interested to see what they do with Booster Gold
Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
universe. See, the other heroes know this exists. So it's
Yeah.
not because they're going to come together down the
Yeah.
line.
Yeah. But I'm interested to see where they go with you saying that. I'm interested to see where they go with Booster Gold. If this is their way of maturing the character.
I think that's what they're probably going to
Because
do.
they've matured like let's take Captain Marvel or Shazam for they've matured that character over the years.
Yeah,
Like, oh, he's been this child like character for so long. Okay, let's mature him. Kingdom Come helped with that too.
yeah,
And
yeah,
shortly after Kingdom Come happened, is that they turned the switch on Shazam and be like, okay, we can write him a little bit more mature.
yeah, and that
And
works better.
that works better. And I think that's what they're doing with Booster Gold. Yeah, it's great to have some comedy in there, but that's what Barry, Wally, and some of the other
Yeah,
major characters we have. They have those little quirky
yeah,
things about them. You don't need a guy like Booster Gold, but in a dark place like this, a guy like Booster Gold could thrive too.
yeah. I agree.
Because because
I
I
want to
see
see him
him.
get built down. I want to see him get knocked down, though. I want to see him
I
like,
want to see him be the hero that he knows he can be.
yeah,
because that's always been his thing. Is like, I'm from the future. I have all this future tech. I'm a superhero.
Yeah, but you suck, buddy.
Yeah, but here's his way of being. And
Hmm.
his best friend Ted Cord has been a hero, and he's trying to
Yeah,
teach him throughout all these years of, hey, this is what you need to do. But like you said, I want to see him get beat down so much that he goes, I can't rely on this tech anymore. What kind of hero am I? And then you just start building him like, boom.
yeah.
Here's a foundation block. Here's a foundation block. Here's a foundation block. Yeah, you can use the tech. It works for you. You can use the tech, but who are you as a person,
Yeah.
Booster? Who are
I
you?
would read that book.
I would too.
I would definitely read that book.
Yeah.
Now, okay. So, anything else you want to say on Wonder Woman? Absolute Wonder Woman number one.
I like you said, the art's amazing. Like
Hmm.
I wasn't familiar with her work. Who was it again? Oh, Hayden
It's
Sherman.
yeah,
Yeah,
Hayden Feel.
Hayden Sherman. I wasn't familiar with her work. Kelly
Yeah,
Thompson. Yeah, I was familiar with her 2016 run on Hawkeye.
yeah. She's a great writer.
Oh, she is. She is, and I'm looking forward to where this is going with her on the helm as a writer. Well, like if you have a strong writer, no matter, like I know DC has a, even Marvel does it too. They can have a series going with one writer, but yet they get in different artists after they do a story arc.
Yeah, fill in. Yeah,
Yeah, Phil, or even like a three, like say, okay, our first arc's 3 issues. So issue 4, we have a new same writer, new designer, a new artist. Let's
yeah,
see what they can do. Okay, fans didn't really like that one that much. Okay, let's go back to the original way it was.
yeah.
It's something they could toy with the designs, not necessarily the designs of the characters, but they could toy with different artists and art styles
As long as
in
it
this world.
keeps the somewhat familiar,
Yes, yeah.
you know, this
No,
the
this,
what this artist set
yes,
up. I would like to
exactly.
keep it kind of in that tone. I don't want
At,
something
at
like
least the world,
crazy.
yeah, at least the world building, the way Wonder Woman looks in
Yeah,
here, and stuff like that. Yeah, you keep that type of stuff, but it's like,
I don't
I
want
mean,
over exaggerated. I don't want
yeah,
cartoony.
I
It's funny cartoony.
I love the Pegasus she
Oh,
rides in.
that's pretty badass. That was
For those of you who don't know, it's a skeleton with wings of a
yeah.
horse. And I'm like,
That's
this
cool.
is, it's pretty cool. I'm like, and I love how both the writer, like I said, the whole mythology thing with this, and how the writer and artist really relied on a lot of mythological beasts and a lot of mythological pictures from
Yeah.
various years for that. So,
Okay, what would you give? Do you want to do a 1 through 5 or one through five?
whatever.
We'll just do it 1 through 5,
Okay.
5 stars. What would you give um, Wonder Woman? Absolute Wonder Woman number one,
I would give it a 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
I
I
like I said, I'm not, because I'm not familiar with the. Well, I'm familiar with the writer's work, not the artist's work. So I'm basing it off
hmm
of just seeing it for the first time from an art standpoint. But the fact that 2016's Hawkeye like redefined the character
hmm
too, so it's like, okay, so I can see why they brought her on for this. I'm
yeah,
going, okay, and so for me, it's a 5 out of 5. I mean, I couldn't put it down when I was reading it.
I'm glad you liked it because
Yes.
I'm gonna go with 4.5.
Okay.
Just because I didn't care about the battle of the creatures. I wanted more.
Yeah.
I wanted more of her and Cersei together. I wanted to see
More
more.
of that build. You want more of the
Yeah,
build. Yeah.
yeah. That's why I'm only. That's why I'm giving it a four point
Oh
five.
yeah.
I'm
I completely
overcritical
understand. I
on
I completely
comments.
understand.
Okay, we are gonna go. You said you want to go backwards,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Reverse alphabetical order. Yes. Oh,
Okay.
and for those of you who are wondering if you can still get your hands on episode on issue number 1, you can. It's going into its third printing.
All these are in multiple printings.
And that's
Yeah,
one thing I want to talk about after we're all done going through all 3 of them. I want to talk about that and how
yeah,
that's a phenomenon in and of itself.
yeah. It really is. So next up is absolute
I
Superman.
can I say that that art picture right there that you just showed, that issue number 1 cover, is the
Yeah,
one that drew me to the book, because I'm like going, because you look at that, you're like going, Superman with longer hair. Okay, what is that? Is that fire on his hands? What? Like
Yeah.
you just look at the character, you just look at the picture, you're like, okay, this intrigues me by the design standpoint of it, or it's
The
more so,
cover sucks you in right
yeah,
away.
yeah, and
Yeah. And that's the job. That's the
yeah,
job of a
yeah,
comic book cover. Now, similar to Wonder Woman's, the oh shoot, what did I do? Okay, this is the slits for
yeah.
Superman #1. Superstars Jason Aaron and Rafa Sandoval unleash a shocking new take on the last son of Krypton. Without the fortress, without the family, without a home, what's left is the absolute man of steel. And this, to me, was the biggest departure from what we're used to in the
Hmm.
regular DC universe of
Hmm.
Superman.
Yeah.
And it really, really worked. It worked
Oh
so
yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah. I love how they redefine the symbols.
Yeah. Okay, let's just say it. We'll say it. The
It's
S
a
stands
class.
for what?
It's a class.
Yeah.
In main continuity, S is for hope.
Yes.
It's a House of Hellcrest. Here, it's the bottom of the class system of the Labor
Hmm.
Guild. So
Yeah. What do they
Superman's
call?
so Jor-El and Laura are the Labor Guild,
Yeah.
and the clerics have a K with
Hmm.
a K. Oh, there's Science League, and the Science League is signified by a star symbol. So like the Legionnaire ring with a star symbol, that's that same exact star symbol. I'm going, okay, so you're making this class, and we get to see Krypton
Hmm.
in a
Which
different light.
and it's very relevant, I
It
think,
is.
in what's
It
going
is.
on around the world. They
Uh-huh.
did a really good tie-in fiction with reality in this book for the home of Krypton and what's going on in Brazil, kind
Yes.
of.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think the new version of Krypton and seeing Superman's parents being basically janitors. And there's
Yes.
nothing wrong
No.
with being janitors, nothing at all.
Her
But they were
his
just the
his mom,
lowest.
as they say in there, his mom's a master mechanic.
Yeah, she was destined to be something else until she
Yes.
spoke out about
Yeah.
something, and that kind of works with this today's
Hmm.
culture, cancel
And
culture.
and that's pretty much how it was too with Superman. Think about back to the Christopher Reeve movie, and think about how Zod and them looked as compared to Jor-El and the higher ups in Krypton.
Yeah,
Well, like everyone else was wearing white, Zod and them were wearing black. So you already have a
yeah,
class system going on here
yeah.
and everything. And it's like, okay. And here they just because we already knew that class system was on Krypton, but
Oh,
they
I'm gonna stop you for a second here.
yes,
Movie Hunter had a great question. Are all these also physical and not? Yeah, they're all
yes,
physical. You can
yes.
go to a comic book shop if you have one close to you. You can order them from Midtown
Third
Comics.
third eyecomics.com.
Yeah,
Just be careful because some of these number ones like are hard to get as
the
well.
first printings. The
Yeah,
first printings.
the first printings, yes. Well,
Yeah,
even they're saying even some of the second or third printings of some of these are getting hard to get
yeah.
too. So it is on physical form and not just digital.
Mm.
But like we said here, I have my physical copies upstairs.
I
Um,
digital. Yeah.
yeah, no,
So
I like reading the initial start of a story arc or initial start of a of something like this in physical. That's just me though. Yeah.
oh, here's a good question. He asks, if collecting physical, do you prefer single comics and its story or waiting for the omnibus to buy it all in one shot? It depends
I,
on your patience.
it does. Like I'm glad that the amalgam universe is all in an omnibus now because that's
Hmm.
just so ridiculous to try and collect for.
Yeah.
It all depends. Like if it's something like Final Crisis or Crisis on Infinite Earths that had so much tie-in to older comics, and it's harder to get those older comics, so that way they actually insert them where they're supposed to be in the story,
Yes. And
rather than
that's
just
brilliant.
yes. It's like this happened in like Superman number 214. Okay, here's Superman number 214 for you to read.
Yeah.
And it's not
Yeah.
just a small portion of it, it's the whole comic book. And it's like, okay, so this is right where it should be. Okay, and that's why I like collecting omnibuses. But like, there's sometimes you have a 5 issue arc, and you know it's not going to get the hard copy one, so you're just going to buy the individual comics that way.
I have to read weekly. I
Yeah.
am a weekly reader. I have been a weekly reader since for a long time. Let's just say that. I don't like to. I don't have no patience. I I,
Oh,
I want to know what's happening in the next issue of Transformers
for
or the next issue of
for
GI Joe.
for older stuff, the omnibus way to go.
Oh yeah,
For
it's
the older
cheaper
stuff,
than tracking down.
it's cheaper than tracking down everything.
Yeah.
For newer stuff, I would say go single comics in that way.
Hmm.
And if it's
But
hard for you to get single issues, then usually what they do is they do it by arcs. They do like a volume one
yeah,
of just like, because Scott Snyder said with Batman, the first 3 issues are one arc. So I could see him releasing all that one arc. Here's one arc together. Here's the first 3 issues.
yeah. The issue 3 just came out today,
Yeah, yeah.
actually. But I'm going to warn you: if you ever go anybody buying comics,
Mhm.
comics are expensive. They're very. If you think buying movies are expensive, try spending $6
An
sometimes.
omnibus about this big. An omnibus is about this big right here.
Hmm.
So an omnibus like that is about the cost, about double the cost of those Columbia Classic sets. So do your math there.
Yeah, they're expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But they're nice
Oh.
nice packaging, just like movies.
Mhm.
um, you get different dust jackets
Yeah,
sometimes to
yeah.
choose from. There's a direct
The
market.
hardcover artwork is different than the dust jacket sometimes,
Yeah,
depending on what it is, because they have multiple runs of the when they first release it. There's like the first 500 get this one, or the first 1,000 get this one.
yep.
So they do that just because it's a collector's thing too with a lot of people, and
That is a great question,
it is,
Lily
it
Hunter.
is.
Okay, now I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I wanted to answer that question before I
Okay.
forgot.
My next thing for Superman is, what did you think of him being an adult coming down to Earth?
I liked that. I
Yeah,
did not see that coming when I scrolled to the next. I said flip, but scrolled
yeah,
to the next page. I was like, oh shit, he was a teenager. He was an adult. He was like a teenager-ish young
yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah. He's not a
I,
baby.
yeah, he's not a no, because he could remember, and that's what I liked him when as you get the dial or the inner monologue. Um, I dug that. I thought that was unique. Um,
I I love how Sandoval grounded this story with realistic artwork.
yes, it wasn't Sometimes his earlier artwork was
Yeah.
very exaggerated,
Yes.
um, but here he
Oh,
dialed it in, and it was very not photorealistic, but
yeah.
realistic enough for comics.
Krypton's in a fantastical place, but in the sci-fi world, it's rendered in a way that makes it come to life. Strange alien vegetation, cities surrounded by volcanoes, as if the dangerous lava running through it, and great detail the technology make it come to life. You really feel like it's not just a, hey, this is science fiction, we're never going to get there. This is a grounded Krypton that you can actually relate to.
Yeah, it was beautiful looking.
It
Um,
was.
it really was. Okay, I have one for you. What did you think of the costume and the AI?
It was a little weird for me to begin with. I had to read it a couple times in order to understand what was truly going on. It was different, let's say it.
Hmm.
That AI, in my opinion, that's Brainiac for sure. They just made him an AI in here.
You think
Rather than,
so?
I think,
Because
yeah,
you
yeah, no, I know. Like I said, I at first I thought it was Brainiac, so I'm like,
think is
okay,
that who you sticking with?
uh huh.
You
I
think it's Brainiac?
you, yeah,
Because we see an individual
yeah,
at Lazarus headquarters,
mhm,
um, and you don't see who it is. You
yeah,
see a silhouette, a little bit of green,
yeah,
and then you see bottled cities.
yes,
And it says, what does one of them say? Kill me or
yeah,
kill us? And then I
yeah,
forget what the other one over here is saying. These all tends leads
yeah,
to
yeah,
Brainiac.
Brainiac. Yes, but we all know that Brainiac at one point on Krypton was an AI before he actually
Yep.
became sentient.
A lot of people
So
don't know that.
yeah, so this is a take. So in my, I'm not saying it's the actual Brainiac. I'm saying it's a version
Vision.
of that original version of Brainiac when he was on Krypton.
I like that theory. I never thought of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Really,
Well,
I
because
like
think of
that.
it, you have Brainiac. You go up to Brainiac 13. The Legion of Superheroes has Brainiac 5. So there's at
Yeah,
least 13 different versions of Brainiac out there.
yeah.
And so it's like, okay, and we just got one in Absolute Power that was completely different than anything else we've seen.
Hmm.
So it's like, okay, so maybe an AI is the way to go.
Yeah. But do you think that gives him his powers, or is his suit is about, or is he the power, and that's just helping
I
him recharge?
it's I think it's not, because if you notice on Krypton when they drew Krypton, what was missing? Did you ever look in the skies?
Yeah, there's no sun.
There's no sun. There's no red
Yeah,
sun.
yeah.
So my thing is, does it give him his powers? In some way, I don't think so. I think it just enhances what he already has.
Okay, yeah. Because I
So
don't know. I was.
think of it like the scepter with in Age of Ultron with Wanda and
Hmm.
Pietro. It was something that was laying dormant that got
Yeah.
out, that was put out that way. That's what I think.
You said something about the charging of the hands on the cover.
Yes.
That I liked that. I like that when you
Yeah.
see it in the book, in the
Yeah.
actual when they're
Yeah.
fighting
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. What and I also liked another thing. I liked how they took the character Peacemaker
Yeah.
and made him into like a unit of soldiers, foot
Yes.
soldiers. I thought that was
I
pretty
I
cool.
also like how they took Lois Lane and made her dad.
Yes, I liked that a lot.
That she's not a reporter. That she's a
Mm,
general. That she's a general in the military.
yeah,
I'm
working
like,
for the Lazarus Company.
yes, yeah. I'm like, ooh. Well, but here's the thing. I love that we spent so much time on Krypton.
I did too. I did
Which
too.
is, it's completely different than the Wonder Woman one.
Hmm.
Whereas you don't, you wish you had more of that with her and Cersei. You wish you had more. Here they flush it out because it's like you kind
And
of
I think
have
it's
to.
needed.
It's needed for a character like Superman if you're going to redo his entire origin like this. Not necessarily redo his entire origin, but tell it in this way. You kind of almost have to set the world that he's coming from.
Yeah,
Or otherwise, you're going thinking, oh, it's like the Krypton we know.
yeah. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Yeah,
He, he's an underdog too in all this. In Krypton, his class, they're the underdogs.
yeah.
On Earth now, he's not a god.
But
He's an
what
underdog. Then that's what I love.
him when he's on Earth, he's doing something the other Superman would never do. Get involved
Yes,
into human
conflicts. Yeah,
struggles. Yeah, struggles, conflicts, and like those diamonds. He's like, take them.
I love. Well, like we were talking about how some of the stuff that was going on in the world today with Wonder Woman, Superman. This is a more grounded in reality Superman backstory,
Hmm.
because he's literally an illegal. He's an immigrant,
Yep.
and then they are playing off of that. And I'm like going. At first, I'm like, that kind of started taking me out, and then as I kept reading, I'm like, okay, I see. It's just an underlining thing. It's like, because I don't like too much politics in my comics. I kind of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
to, yeah,
I don't either because
yeah,
not only for the politics, it kind of
yeah.
dates it a little
It
bit. It doesn't.
it does, and I don't like reading something that dates something like that so much because I can't go back and enjoy it like I would the
Yeah.
first time again. But I kind of like how they did that, kind of like how they kind of just made it very simple. But here he is playing. They're playing on it, just not in as an in your face type of political statement. It's like he's relating to a group of people of who he is, and we don't realize it at first until it happens.
Yeah. And I like the go back to the art, the
Yeah.
shock of that kid he was trying to help, or
Uh-huh.
that man. And he's like, wait a minute, you're the quiet guy um, at the mines when he
Mm-hmm.
sees him all suited up. I just, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. What else stands out for you? I'm gonna get my notes. I think you covered all mine.
I think I covered all mine. So I'm just checking.
I got one. There's a nice shot of the Kent farm
Yeah.
destroyed, and it says property of the Lazarus pit or Lazarus um, company or project.
Yes.
And Lazarus, if you don't know what the Lazarus is, I'm getting tongue tied. It's a throwback to Batman
Hmm.
and Ra's al Ghul, however you
Yes.
say it. It's Lazarus pit where they
Uh-huh.
kept you young. So what's up with that?
I think we're getting. I think it's something like we saw in the Logan movie where we have genetically modified foods that they're
Ooh.
taking over farms and doing it because they knew something's coming, and they're trying to either give people abilities or take away abilities.
Oh, and they're nefarious. So I'm gonna go with take away.
Well, no, because think about it. Lazarus is a rejuvenation. The Lazarus pits are a rejuvenation thing. So I'm thinking maybe it's taking them away from certain ones, but gaining stuff for others.
Yeah, for the powerful people,
Yes,
for the
yes,
higher class.
yes, for the higher class. And
Yeah.
I think that's where this is all going with this arc is that the way he was in Krypton is the what you're going to get throughout the entire line of Absolute Superman. It's the class struggle of
Mhm.
here's Superman's class, here's the other class, and right now here's Lazarus doing this nefarious deed that I'm thinking that that's what's going on. It only makes sense why
Yeah.
the Kent farm was destroyed and taken over by this corporation.
Do you think we will get Lex Luthor, and is Lex Luthor the one in charge
Oh,
of the Lazarus?
I don't. Well, because he will, because we already, no, not with Lois as part of the Lazarus group. No, I think
Ooh, I
I
didn't.
think Lex might be that one. I think Lex might actually be the more so the hero of the story.
Oh shit! I never thought about that.
So think about what have they done thus far, even in Wonder Woman? They made her mortal enemy her mother.
Yeah.
What are they doing here? Lois Lane, who's Superman's biggest confidant and Clark Kent's biggest confidant and love interest, is
Hmm.
now a part of the biggest corporation here that it's there. Lex could have lost everything to Lazarus. So he now, well, yeah, you see where I'm going?
Yes.
Lex
Yes.
could have lost everything to the Lazarus Corporation. And now he's trying to rebuild himself by helping out others, just like Superman. We might get what we've always wanted to see is the Lex. What if Lex and Superman were side by side, not in a nefarious President Luthor way, but as two, kind of like how Smallville first started
Yeah.
out. Kind of,
It's not segue, but
yeah,
there's Lex Luthor's actually been working with Superman, and the stories have been phenomenal in the current
yeah,
Superman
uh
book.
huh, uh huh.
So check those out if you haven't read
It's
those.
just, you see, that's why I'm wondering if that's what they're doing because it's like okay, it's like this that and the Lazarus Core thing is not a gigantic L. Their logo is not a gigantic L. If it
Yeah.
was, you'd be like, oh, it's Lex.
Yeah, it's obvious.
But we don't know who the mysterious head of this corporation is. Is it Raish?
Yeah.
Is it Talia? Is it Nissa?
No.
Like who
Yeah.
is it? Like just because it's Lazarus doesn't mean it's Raish.
That is true.
There's been so many demons heads in there. For Pete's sake, they could have redone Damien and made him evil.
Yeah. That is true.
But
Oh
but I
man.
but no, but the thing is, I think it's something that I think Lazarus is tied into all the entire arcs, all the books.
All the books, I can see that. It's
I
giant world building.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the way they're going to world build it, where because obviously with the new one, with the three new ones that were announced,
Yeah.
Martian Manhunter, Flash, and Green Lantern, somehow you have to get all these guys together, and you like you said in the All In tie-in
Hmm.
that the main universe knows
He
about them.
knows. Hmm.
And it's like somehow you're going to get that group together and this group together. But why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. And something you just said, I'm going to piggyback
Yeah.
on later on in the when we talk about Absolute Batman #1. That really stands out now. That because I liked it in the book,
Hmm.
but when you said what they're doing with flipping people,
Yeah. Hmm.
and you know exactly what I'm talking about, right?
I do. I do. I do. I do. I do.
And I can't wait to talk about that. So, Superman, Absolute Superman, #1. What do you give it?
Oh, I'm mad at 4 out of 5.
I'm with you right there too.
Uh,
Four out
for
of
for
five.
for me, like I said, a lot of these artists I'm not familiar with. So a lot of the artists, this is my first time seeing them. So
Right.
that's there. The writers, I know who these people are. I've read stuff from them before, and
Right.
it's one of those things. It's like I'm. It's just it's taking a what is your biggest character, honestly. You can argue Batman's their biggest character, but their biggest god level character, and turning him on its head. It's a big ordeal. It's either sink or swim for that. You're either going to tell a
Yeah.
great story, or by redoing this, or people are going to be like, "Yeah, this sucks," and it falls on its face right away.
Kind
No,
of like All Star Line
yeah,
did.
yeah, kind of like yeah, kind of like All Star
Yeah,
did.
because they had All Star Batman around that
Yeah,
shit was terrible.
yeah.
Okay, man. So we got one book left, and that is.
probably the one, probably the one that made me want to read this entire series
Hold on, I don't
to
want to
begin
mess this
with,
up.
because that's the original artwork you see. You don't even see the logo on
Yeah,
top. You just see Batman standing there like that. That's what
yeah,
they used to promote it, this absolute universe. And you're looking at there, it's like, okay, you're thinking to begin with, it's the Frank Miller
yeah,
Dark Knight Rises, Dark Knight Returns world. You think that just by the way Batman looks. I
yeah. You
love
think
you think. I love the fact that he's what 7 foot tall, like
it's
four
gigantic?
450 pounds. It's like holy crap. What
Okay,
is he like the Big Show and Undertaker
okay.
in wrestling?
When this image dropped, the
Yeah,
very first image dropped,
yeah.
everyone was like, "WTF? What is up with that logo?" What was your take on the logo?
I go. It has to be something more with that logo than what it is.
I yeah. Um
When I first heard when before it actually came out and there was and Scott Snyder dropped those hints of how he scales buildings, I'm going, oh, is that what that is? Like the logo is big enough that it's like because for those of you that don't know, he doesn't use a batarang to go from building to building. His cape helps him climb the building.
yeah. It's
Kind of
I
does it for
love
it. Well, because he's an engineer. Bruce Wayne's an engineer in this. So
yeah.
he engineered the cape with and all the buildings there with little hooks that way. So I'm thinking, okay, is that the circuit board there for something like that that allows him to do this? That's what I first thought, and then the reveal came of why it's big,
And
and
that was badass.
I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah, that was so badass. I am going to read the log line for
Mhm.
Absolute Batman. And it says Batman legend Scott Snyder and iconic artist Nick Dragotta transformed the Dark Knight's tale for the modern age. Again, without the mansion, without the money, without the butler, what's left is the absolute Dark Knight. And
And
boy,
this is what I would imagine a Batman is, who's not a millionaire with all the toys.
exactly. There's a lot in this first issue. There's a lot of stuff. Um, I think the thing for me right off the bat that stands out the most is not story wise, is the art.
Oh,
It took me a little bit to get with the
yeah,
art.
yeah. Same here.
Um,
Same here.
what stands out first for you?
Just the mass of the man we know as Batman. That's what. Well, and you see him standing next to people, and it's like
He's like, ooh,
he's like, okay, you and like I said, you thought the Dark Knight in the Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller was huge.
hmm
No, this is like Bane on. This is like Bane on steroids. On steroids
yeah.
as
This,
Batman. Yes, yes.
I,
It's like putting Bane's venom and giving him Titan on top of it.
yeah, just
Already
these,
jacked up as is, and it's like, oh, just a
and then
little
you
bigger.
get the idea of how strong he is
Yes,
when
yeah.
he's punching that punching bag and he destroys the bag, and you get to see who he's sparring with
Yes.
I thought was genius. I thought that was very, very cool.
I
Who he's
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Like at first I'm like, okay, who is this? And then I'm like, it can't be. Like it was
right.
that, and I'm like, let me reread this again. And I'm like going, oh, it is okay.
I did
Like
the exact same thing. I was like, wait a minute, go back and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And then they show the iconic picture of Bruce and all his friends,
yes,
which goes back to what you said
mm-hmm,
about Wonder Woman and Superman,
mm-hmm,
about turning foes
yes,
into
yes,
friends.
yes.
And this works so well here. And I
It
like how they name
does.
drop Selena
Uh
in
huh.
there.
I
I want to see I want to see that instead of
I
the party
and
animals.
I love that it was Scott Snyder who decided to take this on,
Me too.
because throughout the past few years, he's been the definitive Batman writer.
Yeah, he has. I
People can
agree.
argue that. Gave us Corvallis, gave us an entire underbelly of Gotham that we did not know existed. It was something different on the take of Batman. Here
Hmm.
he is doing it again, giving us a different take on the character that's been around for over 80 years.
Yeah.
And here's what I heard someone say this. I can't remember the quote, but stripped of his wealth, the big bad symbol is just one of the things that make him stand out from previous itinerations. It's Batman without his elaborate history and retcons. Him at his primal essence, a fresh take that's more relevant than ever before. With years of canon behind him, this series has a chance for something never before seen, and one that still carries a familiar heart under its beating wings.
Yeah. Totally agree with that.
Yeah,
100%.
we're getting a more Batman if he had no morals. This is that Batman.
Yes. Very much so.
As a diehard Batman fan, it's always that moral compass. And even Dick, Jason, Tim, Damien have said, "You're too soft. If
Hmm.
you've killed Joker, you could have killed Joker numerous times before. If you did, Gotham would be a better place.
But he won't do it.
He won't do
That's
it
who he is. Yeah.
now."
And you get to see his lack there of moral code
Yes,
when he uses the bat symbol on
yes.
his chest. And he's like, no
For,
qualms. There's just no.
for those of you who want to know what we're talking about, it comes off and it gets put onto like a stick. It becomes an axe.
Yeah, it's pretty badass.
It
It
is.
sounds ridiculous when you say it out loud,
Yeah.
but it works on the page. Like
it,
everything
it,
you talk about in comics sounds
it
ridiculous when you say it out
was
loud.
ridiculous when I first saw it. Like it was one of those things that's like, did I just see that correctly? Let me go
Yeah,
back and look at this again. I'm like, okay, I did see that correctly. Okay.
yeah. It works. It does.
It does.
It does. What did you think about Alfred? Why
I
he was there?
I love what they did with Alfred
I
overall
do
as a
too.
character standpoint, because we've always known he was a spy or he was in the British military, but we
Yeah,
never get that backstory. And that's what
little
I'm
hints
saying.
every now and then, but
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah, nothing major. Well, we're getting that into this. I think this is more so not necessarily a Batman story. I think it's more of, hey, Alfred's gonna be your hero. You know how
Yeah,
how we were talking about it with Booster and how they're going to break him down to rebuild him.
yeah,
They kind of did that with Alfred. They brought Alfred down from being this butler and say, here's a backstory we know of Alfred. Let's expound on this.
yeah. Uh, that's brilliant. I love his design. I like the look. He's chiseled and
Yes.
made me chuckle when his motorcycle got stolen. I was, he goes, I hate
uh,
this city.
yes.
Um,
I hate this
yeah.
city. Uh,
Alfred is a
is a
retired
retired Kingsman. Yes.
basically.
But basically, that's what he is. That's what
Yes,
he
and
is.
especially in this. Um, and I like how he calls out Bruce for not being very smart.
Yeah.
He's able to figure out where he's at
He's
and stuff.
Bruce is working class.
Yeah,
Like it even says it here on. So someone did a review on it. It goes, working class by day, spiked up suit by night. This Batman is an underdog fighting against an impossible system. The odds are ever stacked against him.
and he makes that makes sense because he makes every part of his costume
He
a
does.
weapon. And when he takes
Mm.
the ears of the cow
Yes.
off, oh, that's badass. and they're like knives and stuff.
Yes,
Uh, that makes sense.
it
Again,
does.
sounds ridiculous, but it makes sense.
It makes sense because for years you've always seen Batman rely on his utility belt.
Yeah,
Well, like his suit is his gear now. It's
yeah.
his weapons. It's his stuff that he gets by with.
And I like how like you said earlier about the cape is how he it actually looks like bat wings at
It
times. You know how
does.
bats
Yeah,
when they're all folded up, and
yeah.
it also had a little homage to me to Spawn.
It kind of has a Spawn slash Venom symbiote vibe to it too,
Yeah, yeah,
where it's like the flowing of the Spawn essence, where it's like
hmm
all under like just the curves of the
yeah.
bat.
I liked that a lot.
When
I
Batman's
did.
standing, the curves there, and the Venom symbiote because of the way he when he climbs building, it kind of has a mind of its own type of
Yeah,
thing, and it's like okay, like when I heard a working class Batman, I'm going, this could be really bad.
and he works. That's what I
It,
like too.
and that's the thing about all three of these. It works.
Yeah, I
I'm
didn't think
like
it was going to.
how long did it take Scott Snyder to? Because he's spearheading this whole absolute
Hmm.
campaign. How long did it take Scott Snyder to go through each one of these characters and be like, what is their fundamental building blocks of this? Deep down, what's the one line that we can get rid of that changes these characters
Yeah,
and their world for
hope.
forever?
Yeah, I think it's the word hope. There's no
Yeah,
hope in this. There's no.
this is a bleak world that there's like no hope,
Yeah, it kind of. I
and
mean,
you see it in all three issues.
yeah, the theme of no hope.
Yes,
Yeah,
or that there's something that they are fighting against in each one, and it just
yeah.
seems like a never-ending battle for them.
Especially with the party animals, they just keep
Yes,
coming,
yes,
and I'm interested to see where they go because he makes a connection about the helmet when he gets a hold of the helmet. There's something there. I wonder if it's the Toy Man, a version of the Toy Man or something, or not the Toy Man, the Mad Hatter. I
yeah,
don't know. Black Mask, maybe. I don't know. That's just my guess. But
uh,
there's a kicker. There's
yes.
a twist in this book.
I love how it's uh the group of people. The antagonists are wearing black skulls.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like
party
Roman
masks. Party.
Sionis. Yeah, yeah, black party masks. The gang is more happy to do a shootout in broad daylight than in the
Didn't even
darkness.
care.
Yeah, they don't care. Uh, what was your take of Jim Gordon in here?
Oh, the mayor. I,
Yeah,
that makes sense. You figured he would graduate up
it
to
does.
mayor.
It
I'm
does.
surprised that hasn't happened in the
No,
comics by
yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah, I know, but
Yeah,
it makes complete sense. Like,
mhm.
what?
And his daughter was there. I like that.
Yeah,
What did you think of how the Thomas Wayne died and how, spoiler alert, Martha is not dead?
yeah,
I
yeah.
liked that.
I do too. I
I,
do too. And as of right now, we don't know what happened to Martha. We don't know like who she if she's becoming anyone.
yeah, you don't know.
You don't know. Like she like yeah. I
I
kind of
liked it.
I liked it. I'm like because you still had to keep that in there for some odd reason with Batman because if both parents were alive, there gives it no purpose to be the Batman.
And I like how they make a reference to going to the movies. It's
Yeah.
like one of those stupid movies, watch a dumb movie or something,
Yeah.
and then you hear the blam, and then you're like, "What was that?" And yeah, I dug it. I think anything else that sticks out.
Well, the homelessness, blue collar people, the stuff we
Hmm.
really don't see much in Gotham in the main continuity.
That is true.
Uh I'm just trying to think.
And I think I went through my notes, and I think
Oh,
you
the
covered.
orange and blue in the sky of sunset, the red of blood, the flashbacks desaturated for dramatic purposes. I loved how
Yeah.
the flashbacks were desaturated, so you can kind of tell what was a flashback and
Yes.
what wasn't.
Yeah. That's just great art. doing his job.
Well,
Great
that's
artist.
great storytelling too. It's like
Hmm.
you could tell that Scott Snyder, you could tell that the writers had their hands in the artist's work too, because they're like, this is what we're writing. Give us something. Give us this paragraph here in art,
Yeah,
and be like, I can see him be like, okay, but this is what I was thinking. Like, and they ask something, and the artist is like, that could possibly work. Let's try it this way. It kind of feels like that the artist and the writers go hand in hand in the creation of this, rather than here's what we're writing, draw it up like most comic books are.
yeah,
Draw up this storyline. This is where we're going. It seems like Nick and Scott kind of had hands together in this
and
issue.
that's why it works. I think that's
Yeah,
and you can
that's
tell when an artist and a writer are
yeah,
on the exact
yeah.
same page. No, no pun intended.
All three of them. All
Hmm.
three of them are that
Yeah.
way. Even the colorists, because there's a difference
Oh,
between
color.
artists and colorists.
Speaking of colors, the one in Superman was phenomenal. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh well, yeah. For Frank Martin is the colorist on this one. I
Yeah,
love.
I should have put the colors on
Yeah,
here. I
yeah.
didn't.
I love his coloring.
He
It's
did a phenomenal job.
he does, and I think the artist's work is usually just the pencils and the dark lines. It's the colorist who brings these characters to life, and I think it was his idea for. I don't know if it was his or Nick's idea for the desaturation, but Scott Snyder goes, I didn't even think of that when I did the flashbacks. He goes, that was
Yeah,
completely the art team who did that. I'm like
and it
going,
works.
wow, it works.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um. So then my question, okay, what would you give this?
Oh, it's a retake on the old mythos of Batman. As a guy who likes the more grizzled, hard nosed Batman, I would give it a 5 out of 5 in my opinion.
I'm a 5 out of 5 for this too. This is a must read. If you're going to pick any of these three books to read, everybody says Batman, 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 but there's a
Mhm.
reason for it. This is phenomenal. I think this is out of the three, the one you absolutely, no pun intended, have to read.
Yes.
Is absolute Batman number one. Now, my next question to you though is: will you be able to, or do you want to keep reading these three titles? Will you still read these
Yeah.
books?
And like Scott Sanders said, this is not a mini series.
Mm-mm.
So I'm wondering how long it's going on, because he stated that Batman issue 3, Absolute Batman issue 3 that came out, concludes the story arc he told in the first 3 issues. He goes,
Yeah,
there's more stories coming, but he goes, this story arc's concluded in these 3 issues. So in other words, the world building aspect of this world for Gotham is done in these 3 issues.
yeah. There's so
And
much
then
there to
from there,
tell.
you can dive in deeper that way. Honestly, I don't know how long it's going to last, but this would be something worthwhile.
Yeah,
If you're not a comic fan, or you're not a weekly comic fan, get something like this, because I missed out on the first run of ones. I now have to get into the number twos, which are already on their second printings.
yeah.
Oh, did you mention your thing that you wanted to mention, that when I said something in the Superman one, remind you of something in Batman?
Oh shoot! No, no, no. I did not. Okay, Batman's his friends
Mhm.
are Penguin,
Yes.
Killer Croc,
Uh huh.
Catwoman,
Yep.
Riddler,
Uh huh.
and there was one more. Who was it? Um,
It wasn't. It wasn't Tommy.
no. Um, who was it? Forget. Anyway,
Yeah.
they were friends. They were bonded friends because they played card games every
Yeah.
day, or at least all the time together. I liked that. I liked how
Uh huh.
he actually has friends. He's not a loner
No.
like the regular Bruce Wayne is, and that there's a cool dynamic that could be
Yes.
played. Good stories, potential stories
Yes.
down the road for each of these characters.
And honestly, I honestly say it this way: they're his friends. Like I said in the Superman one, they make the heroes villains, and then they make the villains heroes.
Yeah,
Think
yeah,
about it. Yeah, and so it's like I'm going, are these going to be his bad family with him, or is it going to be something that's such a tragic turn that these are his best friends, that they all die in front of him?
Oh shit! I never thought about that. I didn't even think about that. Man, you went dark really quick.
Well,
You did.
Scott Snyder created a dark universe.
You did. Yeah, I'm interested to see. I'm going to read issue 3 tonight, hopefully, at some point tonight. Hopefully, it's not too dark and he doesn't do what you just said. Uh,
I'm not saying it's going to be in the third issue.
I know.
It's going to be
I was just
something
giving you
down
that
the
time.
line, but yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's going to be something worthwhile to pick up, especially considering we're getting Flash, Green Lantern, and Martian Manhunter coming soon. And
Yeah.
it's like you're like, okay, like you're doing this, okay. What's the end game, Scott? That's what I want to know.
Now that you're saying all this, I never thought of it that way. I wonder if this is just a new version of the crime syndicate.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, that this is the Injustice Society origin stories.
yeah, or something like that. Yeah.
Because that's a world that is backwards from everything else. So
Hmm.
it could. I never thought of that. It could. It is, but they're not. Their
Not
identities
evil,
are
evil
not.
yet.
Yeah. Well, but their identities are also not Bruce Wayne, Clark Kent, and
That's
Diana
true.
Prince. They're
That
not.
is true.
It's
That is
Thomas
true.
Wayne Jr. because Owlman is Thomas Wayne Jr.
Yeah,
Because it's Johnny Quick who's the Flash. So it's like
that's true.
so.
Yeah, I don't know.
But that's an interesting take on if it is. What happens if these characters were that group?
Yeah, because they're going to have to go against the Justice League at some point. Because that's what's, and I think that's the only thing for me. As you're saying this, I'm thinking, okay, is this how they're going to go against?
Who's
Um,
Darkseid? My question is this: who's Darkseid playing in a game of chess?
yeah,
Who's he playing in a game of chess? Where it's the main continuity versus this continuity?
yeah,
Who's he playing in a game of chess? Because why did he do this?
yeah. There's a book you should check out. I just finished reading it before we
Yeah.
went backstage. It's a new Challengers of the Unknown #1,
Okay. Yeah.
and just came out today. It kind of deals with Darkseid disappearing and all these other anomalies popping up in the regular
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
DC universe that
Mm-hmm.
ties to
His
absolute.
disappearances. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So, yeah, Challengers of the Unknown, which have some ties in with Booster Gold in some way, shape, or form.
yeah, probably. Yeah,
No,
this.
no. In the actual main continuity, the Challengers of the Unknown are part of what the costuming that Booster Gold stole.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Really,
he has a Legion ring, and I think
I knew he had a Legion ring.
it's the glasses because it's not all one hero suit.
Oh,
He
okay, so I
put
didn't know
parts
that.
of it together from different ones in the museum. So
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think it's glasses of somebody. I can't remember exactly what it is, but he made Booster Gold.
Oh,
So
cool.
it's
See, I
like
didn't know that.
yeah. So I'm wondering if the Challengers of the Unknown are the group that kind of brings them all together.
That's I that would I'm interested to now that you say that.
I'm
Um,
and I'm just speculating. It's not like I really know that I have Scott Steiner here in speed dial and I'm going to call him up and
that
ask
would be
him what's
awesome.
going on.
I want to know where my Witches Volume 2 is. That's what I want to know, Scott.
And texting him now. He says, "Screw you, Rich."
And that's probably what I would. Have you ever read his Witches?
No.
Oh, it's he wrote that with Jock. Jock was the artist. Oh, it's
Oh,
phenomenal. Yeah, that
Jock is
first
so
volume.
amazing.
Hmm. Yeah, it was really
Jacques,
good.
Jacques, or Jack, as whoever pronounces Jack. Like
Yeah, I got to meet both of those guys at
nice,
C2E2 one year.
nice. This
Do
is
you ever
this.
go? No, go ahead.
I've been to C2E2 once. I had a friend who was in a booth. Got some
Oh,
vendor
awesome.
passes for
Oh, that's cool.
the Saturday. They were friends. Him and his wife were friends of mine from college, so they had a
Oh,
little
that's
comic.
awesome.
They were a little comic. They were promoting. They were two at C2E2 and got to have some vendor passes. So
That's awesome. I went to the very first one in Chicago. There was, I think Set it at the McCormick Center is
Yeah,
beautiful. That's a beautiful place.
it is.
Um, I loved that first one. Then I've been to three other ones and had a blast every time.
You know what,
Is it
Rich?
what?
I mean, I live in Illinois. You know this.
Yeah,
I'm about an hour outside of the city. We should somehow meet up for a C2E2.
yeah, yeah,
At least one of the 3 days.
yeah. That sounds like a
Yeah,
plan. I
yeah.
would love to try that. Yeah, it's great. That whole
Forget movie
downtown there.
meetups. Forget movie
Yeah,
meetups. Who needs those?
right. It's comic time.
We're going to
Um,
spend a lot more money.
yeah. Oh, oof. Man, you gotta have some money to go.
We're going to be broke within the first 3 minutes.
I, did you ever go to Wizard World too? Did you ever?
I know I haven't had that luxury,
We
unfortunately.
went. The first comic convention I ever went to was Wizard World Chicago. It was phenomenal. It was huge.
I'm more of a fan of like those like Peoria Con that they have up here, the smaller ones.
Yeah, yeah, I do too. I
Yeah,
like those
I
because it's
am.
all about the.
Yeah, I like them better because it's not just like my first interaction with C2E2. It's like this is great, but it's like there's way too much stuff to do here, and it's like I didn't realize that to just go into Artist Alley, you need to pay for that, or even meeting some of the people. It's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, the celebrities. I was celebrity awestruck my first couple cons, but then I realized that they're taking away from Corey is like, let me know and I'll tag along. Oh, dude,
So
I
he
love
gets,
shit.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It's just Corey. We'll get you both styles of Chicago style pizza:
I didn't know
deep
there was
dish,
two steps.
and beer and tavern style.
What's tavern style?
Tavern style is the thin crust. You know how when you get the thin crust and it's kind of the bubbly crusts.
Mm-hmm.
That's yeah.
Ooh,
So there's
man.
a Chicago's known for their thick crust, their deep dish, and a thin crust too.
Oh,
So
wow. No, but man, there's nothing better than going Artist Alley and a Comic
oh yeah,
Con.
oh yeah,
Just discovering just new artists, picking up prints.
yeah.
I've been blessed enough meeting some amazing artists in the comic industry. We talk about Scott Snyder, met Scott Snyder a couple times. Great guy. Got some of my Batman hardcovers signed.
Nice,
Um,
nice.
yeah, great, nice guy. But yeah, I want to go back to C2E2. I want to go to Chicago again. Actually, I'm taking my daughter to go see Megan Maroney in at the Barbecue Fest
Okay.
in whatever it's called in July, I think.
The Taste of Chicago.
No, no, no.
No, it's on the taste. It's
Um,
Oh, I know what you're referring to. Yeah, they have the
it's,
barbecue one
yeah,
on
it's
there.
some country thing.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
wants to see Megan Maroney, so we're doing that. Um, yeah.
nice.
Anything else? Oh, wait! Before we go, tell me about your channel and your Instagram page.
Okay, I am the BINBUSTER on Instagram and all the social medias. Probably getting off of X here soon, just because it's completely changed. It's more bots than anything else now. So so if you see X in my profile, don't bother going there because I hardly even post on there anymore. But it's Instagram. It's the BINBUSTER. YouTube here. It's BINBUSTER. What I do is I talk. I talk movies. I like going thrifting, so I have a bunch of videos of thrifting, movie reviews from $5 bins, stuff like that.
That's awesome. That's so unique. You're the only person I've come across on YouTube that does that. That's pretty cool. I like that.
Mhm.
You got anything coming up that you want to promote?
I'm taking a break until the new year.
Oh, that's good vacation time.
Just because I'm off of work and I'm going. You know what? I don't want to worry about the YouTube side of things. I'm working on some stuff that time off will actually help me try and figure out like what I want to do in the new year because I still want to do my lives and I have a couple other videos, but do I want to do a live every week or do I want to go every other week with a recorded video? So it's kind of like just scheduling stuff that I'm going to go through and see what what's on the channel and what I can do better.
Awesome. I can't wait to see what you got coming in 2025. I
Yes,
would love to have you come back, Comic Talk in the new year.
I would.
Um, pick some different comics to read. Throw some out. If you something you want me to read, want me to check out, excuse me, I would love to do that. I
Hmm.
like reading new things. But for me, I don't have nothing until December 26th. I have Rob coming on. We're going to be talking movies, of course.
Of course.
Uh, he's doing the, uh, got some stuff. Thank you, Movie Hunter. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks, Hunter.
I appreciate everybody here tonight.
Yeah.
I know it's comics, it's not movies.
Yes.
Um, but we're going to be scoring for 4 or 5 movies. I forget what they are. One of them's Craven. One of them's Blitz. Uh, Hopefully, The Complete Unknown. And we're doing it the lowdown way, the by the numbers way, like me and
Yes.
David used to. I'm going to do that. Maybe talk a little bit of movie news because I like the movie news side of things. And that's December 26th, the day after Christmas at 8:30 Central Standard Time. I'll get that scheduled. Hopefully, you guys can make it and just talk some movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, well, that's it, guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking a couple hours out of an hour and a half out of your
Yeah.
night to spend it with us two knuckleheads. Um, well, God bless and
Yes.
take care. Have a
Mhm.
happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Have a Merry Christmas.